Hi everyone, I'm Dylan, and today I have the honor of interviewing Mr. Larry D. Sargent. Mr. Sargent is a retired law enforcement officer and a veteran who has dedicated his life to serving his country and community. Today, we'll be talking about his connection to the Tuskegee Airmen and how he keeps the legacy alive. Let's get started. Mr. Sargent, could you please tell us about your connection to the Tuskegee Airmen and what they mean to you personally?
Yes, the Tuskegee Airmen is very dear to my heart because I have family connections with the Tuskegee Airmen. I found out and later in life that two of my cousins were pilots with the Tuskegee Airmen, Robert and Leonard Wiggins. What happened is that I first became a member of the chapter, visited the museum, and on the honor roll board, I saw the name Robert Wiggins. So when I saw the name Wiggins, I said, wait a minute, I'm related to some Wiggins out of Flint, Michigan. So I called up my great aunt while I was down there, and I said, Aunt Maisie, I said, who is Robert Wiggins? And she said, that's your cousin. I said, well, why didn't nobody ever tell us about him? She said, well, it's another cousin of yours that was a Tuskegee Airman. His name was Leonard Wiggins. He's been to the family reunion, but he never did mention to us when we was little bitty kids, like 12, 13 years old, that he was a Tuskegee Airman because of the way that he was treated when he came back from the war. They went over there to fight for the United States government, and then when they came back, they treated him worse than when they went over. The prejudice and everything still existed, even though they did fight for this country. And that's how I have ties with the Tuskegee Airmen.
Wow. How do you think the achievements of the Tuskegee Airmen impacted the Black community as a whole, both during their time in service and in the years since?
Well, Tuskegee Airmen were the Trailblazers. You know, back then they had a study done by the War Academy that Black men could not fly aircraft because of the dexterity of the aircraft, and they said our brains were smaller than white men, and they proved them wrong. And so therefore, you know, what they did, they proved that they was able to fly the planes better than the white men. They were the best in the business. Because one of the things that they were required as a Tuskegee Airman, in order just to apply for the Army Air Corps to be a Tuskegee Airman, you had to have a 4-year college degree. Where if you was white, you could have been a dropout or a high school education, and they would make you a pilot. So they was getting the cream of the crop, and then they was trying to make them fail. They put them through all this rigorous training and everything else, and when you have the cream of the crop, all you're gonna do is get the best pilots around. So therefore, what they done there was a role model for all Blacks to show you that you can achieve anything in life that you wanted to do.
That's awesome. As a member of various organizations related to the Tuskegee Airmen, such as the Tuskegee Airman National Museum, could you share with us some of the programs and efforts that are being made to preserve their legacy?
Sure. Right here at the airport that we have where we're at now, we have our youth programs. We have the Young Eagles program. The Young Eagles, like I was telling you earlier, is a program that we do an introduction to the youth to aviation at the age of 9 years old or up to 17 years of age. And then after that, we have our ground school that start with the kids at the age of 14. And then we have our rocket program that start with the kids age 10 on up. And also we have drones at the age of 14. So therefore, we have all these different jobs and careers we're trying to expose them to, because we're just showing them that in aviation right now there's an open market, there's jobs available that by being Black we're not exposed to, like AP, like airframe and power mechanics, air traffic controllers, and just working on the ground, support ground, just doing the refueling aircraft and taking care of the aircraft. Those type of jobs there, you can make over $100,000 a year with those type of jobs that's available. And the Tuskegee Airmen also, we have scholarship programs that we give out for youth to go to college. And all you have to do is apply for them, and we go ahead and we send them off to our national headquarters in Washington, D.C. And most of the kids that apply for these programs, they get the scholarship money. So therefore, we try to help and promote the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen. And one other thing is that what really sticks in my mind, one of the Tuskegee Airmen told me years ago when I first joined that as Black men, it's a quote by Martin Luther King. He says, Black men, we got to do a job so well that the living, the dead, and the unborn couldn't have done a better job. And so if you do it that well, nobody else can top you.
That is nice.
Thank you.
What inspired you to become involved in keeping the Tuskegee Airman legacy alive? And what do you hope to achieve through your involvement in these organizations and initiatives?
Well, my whole initiative right now is that when I first joined the museum, I came on as a director. And after a couple of years as a director, I got promoted. I got voted in as the vice president of the museum. And my whole thing is to expose the youth to the different opportunities that's available. Because if you're not exposed to it, you don't know about it. Like now, we have what they call the Silver Air Patrol. It's right here at City Airport. A lot of people in this community don't even know about the Silver Air Patrol. And the Silver Air Patrol is equivalent to the Boy Scouts. And instead of learning the Boy Scout thing, you learn how to fly, how to do search and rescue or search and recovery techniques. And there's a stepping stone if you ever want to go into the Air Force, or you want to be a pilot, or if you just want to just in like general, you have leadership skills to show you how to succeed.
Wow. In your opinion, why is it important for younger generations like myself to learn about the Tuskegee Airmen and the role in history?
Well, right now, and please be surprised, we go to a lot of schools and it's kind of embarrassing. I go out a lot of like interviews like I'm doing with you, and I go out to the suburbs, and it's amazing how the white kids know about the history, our history, better than what we know about our history. I said Tuskegee Airmen, all the white kids, they just raised it. Oh yeah, we know about the Tuskegee Airmen. And I go into an inner city school and say Tuskegee Airmen. They say, what's that? They act like they don't know. So my whole thing is to educate our people about our history. We should be proud of our history, especially the Tuskegee Airmen. Not only the Tuskegee Airmen, there's another group. We got the Mountain Port Marines that existed. We got the Triple Nickels, the first black paratroopers in the United States. And there's a tanker group called the 176 Tanker Group in the Army. We don't even know about. And you must realize that a lot of things that they always talk about was Amelia Earhart. She was the female pilot. But there was a black woman before Amelia Earhart. Her name was Betsy Coleman. She was from Louisiana, and she was also indigenous. She was half Indian and half, from Louisiana. And she couldn't, so here in the United States, they wouldn't let her teach her how to fly. So she had to learn how to speak French. And she went to Paris to get her license. And she was the first female pilot, but none of our people even know about Betsy Coleman. All they know about Amelia Earhart. And then during World War I, there was a guy named Jacques Buller. He was one of the first black pilots in World War I that fought in the French War. And our people don't know about him. So therefore, that's my whole thing, is to expose our people, to let them know what's going on and who exists from where. So therefore, it's just exciting to me when I keep getting educated every day about new things that black inventors. I found out about a couple of black men. I found out myself just 2 months ago who went to Nassau about different stage rockets back there in the 1940s. And the United States government didn't want to talk to him. But then 17 years later, they hired him because it was behind the time. They wanted to listen. They figured, oh, black man don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about that. These guys was inventors. And you must realize that most of all the inventions, everything that you see out there in the streets right now, from traffic lights onto windshield wipers and everything, black men invented those. Our people invented those. Now, one thing about that, they didn't know about when they sent them these soldiers down to Tuskegee. In the native tongue of the Creek Indian, so I'm a Creek Indian, the word Tuskegee in the language of the Creek Indian means warrior. A lot of people don't know that. The word Tuskegee means warrior. So when they sent them down there and they went to Tuskegee, that means warrior. That's why I wear this earring in my ears together. My great-grandfather was a full-blooded Creek Indian. So therefore, they gave me the nickname of Eagle Eye. So when I was a little boy, I was able to look out and see stuff without the binoculars. They be looking through binoculars, and I could see with my bare eyes, yeah, there he is over there. So my great grandfather, before he passed, he named me Eagle Eye. And I was a little bitty runt running around now. So, it's amazing what's going on. But Tuskegee, is from Alabama, and that's where the Creek Indians were, down in Alabama.
That is very good.
Yes, it is.
Lastly, Mr. Sargent, what advice would you give to other young people who are interested in honoring and preserving the legacy of the Tuskegee?
All I would say, I would like them to get involved. Like you, for instance, when you go back to school, you should go ahead and let your fellow classmates know about the history of the Tuskegee Airmen and get involved in like these other programs that we have. Because once you get involved in these other programs, your friends will find out what you're involved in, then they want to get involved in it. And like your nonprofit, what your dad has going on, that's going to help expose kids. I'm glad this interview. I'd like to thank you, Mr. Robinson and Ms. Robinson, for giving this chance for your son to interview me on behalf of this, because this is going to be a big exposure to all kids to let them know about our history as a race of people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sargent, for sharing your experiences and insights with us today. Your dedication to honoring the Tuskegee Airmen and preserving their legacy is truly inspiring. On behalf of everyone listening, I want to express our gratitude for your service and commitment to keeping the history alive.
Thank you very much.